What's going on, guys? Welcome to In the Zone. I'm your host, Garrison Roy, and today we're going to go down a little mental minute today. But if you're new to the podcast, we have different episodes labeled as either rants, where I go on and vent or discuss certain hot topics or call out some stuff in the industry, or maybe some trends that are going on, and then also full interviews. Those are just conversation with experts, athletes, and coaches, sharing a little bit about in their zone of what they are coaching or pushing for, or maybe zone of expertise, if you will. And then obviously deep dive educational explorations, just trying to get into the nitty gritty of things. But for today, this is a quick mental game hack to help elevate your performance. And this title is more on failure and hardship, right? And I think the game of baseball, it does teach us a lot about how to face hardships, even when they might be inevitable. And again, these are all life lessons that will push you to things throughout the rest of your life. And I think it's important to acknowledge that everyone goes through tough times, right? You're not special just because you were put under the knife for an arm injury, or that you were redshirted, or that you didn't come from a great, you know, starting position, or you have all these guys in front of you, have all this cards stacked up against you, so to speak, right? But I'll kind of go to a quote here, more from Seneca, on embracing that adversity, right? And he once said that those who have never faced misfortune are unfortunate themselves. And I think this is very valid for guys who play any sport, but more in particular baseball, because it is a game of failure, right? These struggles on the field can help you learn how to cope with things and adversity outside of the game. But if you've never failed, if you've never lost, if were always winning, always dominating, sometimes you don't know how to handle that adversity or how to handle failure, right? You don't know how to come back from behind after you were up for a lead and then you lost it. You don't know how to have that grit or that fight, right? And sometimes having those hardships help you learn how to do that, right? And I think a lot of people need to redefine what winning or success looks like to them, right? Is it always the W on the scoreboard? Not necessarily, right? This could be just, did you stack up wins for that day, right? What did you overcome? What are you refining through your skills, right? What are you growing in as a player or as a coach? And I know I love bringing people on to interview and hear their backstories of what their journey was like through the game of baseball, because everyone had to deal with certain things. They had to persevere. They had to have grit in order for them to stick with it. And really, anyone who continues to still coach or does anything within this game, I think there's a lot that's said for them to be able to stick that out. Because a lot of people, out there outside of baseball, they're like, oh, there's no money in baseball, or oh, hey, there's not a whole lot of other things going on, or hey, it's just a sport, it's just a game. When really, they're trying to push for something greater than what it already is. They're trying to make this, maybe they're trying to push a certain narrative or push a new, maybe it's what's the right word that I'm looking for here? Probably a newer development, some type of industry leading. Anyways, it'll come to me in a minute, right? So to deal with that, though, and to continue to push through even whenever you're not seeing success, or for me, for example, like I've been doing this podcast for 2 years. Am I a top hit sensational, person on Instagram? No. But guess what? I still continue to do it. Hey, are you the World Series coach? Or this top end coach that everybody's world renowned to go and sought after? No. Are you the dude on your team? Maybe you're looking to try to be that dude, but you're not quite there yet. Right? But all these, from what I'm saying here, is you got to learn from them. You got to know how to pivot. You got to know how to bounce back from the slumps, from the errors, or from the L's, right? Because it's how you respond to these things that matter. You don't need to see them as reasons to quit. but see them as fuel to help continue to develop yourself, whether it's as an athlete or as a person, right? Learning and not becoming the victim. Don't let that blaming circumstances or oh, it was the umpire, oh, it was the weather, oh, it was this. Don't let that shift you away from what you actually need to do, was just become better every single day, right? And I truly believe that a lot of players do think that they have success within their reach. But sometimes it's hard to see that whenever you're going through those tough times. And you have to have that positive self-talk, that self-talk that you're telling yourself, hey, I can do this. I will do this. I am able to do this, right? And there's a fine line between that confidence and also from maybe cockiness, right? To tell you a little story with that and how I kind of overcame some adversity was going back to my freshman year in high school. I was on the varsity team. We were out having a practice in early January. So it was a little cold, a little wet, right? And just going through, hitting some ground balls, and our coach was kind of getting mad because we were making a few errors through all this, and we were trying to have a clean round of in and out. And so we're going through, and he rears back and he hits with one of those metal fungos, just rips it right into a divot to me. I go down, try to field the ground ball, right? The ball hits the divot right in front of my glove, and it takes a weird hop, comes right up to my face, right into this tooth. It goes all the way to the back of my throat. It's almost like I kind of got punched in the face in a way. Dropped to my knees, and then I noticed that I'm bleeding. I'm like, oh, okay. My best friend, Tyler, he was running across from third base. He's like, G, are you okay? And I was like, oh, I can't feel my mouth. Right? Like, I was just stunned. Thankfully, my dad was there and he was getting ready to, pick me up right after practice. But that tooth was all the way in the back. Had a nice little cut throughout my lip on both sides, a nice little stitch mark right from that ball just blistering my face. And had to go get some dental procedures done to get that and try to save that tooth. Obviously, I couldn't just jump right back up and get another ground ball with that happening. I wanted to, but I was also like, all right, hey, I probably need to fix my face, right? But within the next week, I was like, hey, I want to go back out there. Whereas a lot of guys, maybe if the game's not cut out for them, they would have been like, dude, peace, I'm out. I don't want to play baseball anymore. I'm done, right? Like, this is stuff that you're going to have to overcome. Maybe it's an arm injury. Maybe it's, being redshirted, or maybe it's being benched, or maybe you're going through a slump. You can't stop those things from happening. But again, it's all about how you respond to those hardships, to those failures, because you'll come back better on top if you take a more positive approach and don't become a victim and let it affect you and try to identify with that as being who you are, because that isn't who you are. Who you are is someone who can overcome, that warrior, right? I've referred to that in a few other mental minutes in previous episodes. So know that, know how to build off of that for yourself, and stay in the zone.